This SoonerScoop.com video is streaming in crystal clear 4K resolution on YouTube thanks to Enjoy Vision in Oklahoma City. From the big plays to life's everyday moments, see it all in sharp focus with LASIK at Enjoy Vision. Enjoy Vision. This is where SoonerScoop LASIK. Hello and welcome back. Eddie Radosovich, Josh McCuistion here from the SoonerScoop.com studios, kind of wrapping up the first couple days here of Josh's OK Preps Tour, the 2027 class, the much-awaited, I think, viewing of Cooper Hackett went down on Wednesday morning, excuse me. Really good group of guys that you went out and saw here over the last couple days, and even more so here on the back end of the trip.
Yeah, really made a focus of several guys.
Sure.
And Cooper Hackett was obviously one of those guys that you're going to build this trip around and say, okay, we got to see him. But Eddie, I mean, everywhere I've gone, I've been really pleased. There hasn't been that performance where you're like, well, okay, maybe I'm over my skis on this guy. Cooper's got a chance to be special.
Yeah.
Kaden Penny. I mean, we'll go through some of the names, but it's been a really strong start.
A lot of movement as well through the OK Preps. Checking in on a couple guys, new additions, a lot of newness around Broken Arrow. Travis Hill taking over up there for the Tiger football program. It should be rather interesting to see if he can kind of get that thing turned around. I know the 6A1 has been a stranglehold of the new Bixby guys, and obviously we'll talk about Braeden Presley as well as Kaden Penny. That's going to confuse me. I want to get out ahead of it. Kaden Penny, Braeden Presley. It's going to be tough to not mix those up. I'm going to be calling him Braeden Penny for a long time.
Yeah, I've written it several times and had to go back and do a little editing, so that you're not alone.
I just got to think about the brothers. Braylon, obviously, and Brennan. Just got to remember, we'll get tight. We'll get you right here for Lorna Montgomery's program. Before we get to everything, though, we want to tell you about our good friends over at Roback, RHOBACK.com. The only way to describe Roback, best fit, best feel. If you want to get yours today, Josh has his on, been going around the state and supported by Roback. All you got to go do is Roback.com, promo code Sooner20 for 20% off everyday shorts, the Delta Performance Pants. The Looper shorts certainly going to be put into use here as we get into the golf season, NCAA National Championship going on right now. Yeah, you got some North Carolina on as well. Oklahoma baseball headed out to Chapel Hill. But I told some of the traveling party for the OU baseball team, if you see Bill and Jordan, well, because I think there should be a chance that they play baseball in front of Bill Belichick and his girlfriend, who's 45 years younger. That's neither here nor there. I'm guessing, is it 45?
Is that what we're doing here,
We
Eddie?
would never shame love on this program. Love is love, and we've always supported that, even through thick and thin, Casey Anthony. But we shall move on. Let's get to the football stuff. Thank you to our good friends over at Roback. 20% off, as we've been telling you all season. All right, let's start here. We got to start with Cooper Hackett. Yeah. It was the first time that you had seen him. I know that it was a couple weeks ago. I think that you and me and George were talking about it on one of the recruiting reports, and you put out some pretty lofty expectations. Yeah. Did those expectations get met on Wednesday morning? I don't know why I keep thinking it's Tuesday.
Just a reset for everybody. We talked about Lane Johnson. That got thrown around. And seeing him, I don't think it's crazy. It is crazy that it's not crazy. The thing I really wanted to see with Cooper is, obviously, he's okay. So, and here you've got some video of him working. Again, this guy is legitimately 6'6" or more, probably 255, 260 pounds. And what you'll notice is he's not a kid that he just has little sticks for legs. There is some lower body there. He's going to be able to put on weight. He's broad-shouldered. I kind of thought he's going to be kind of narrow.
Yeah,
basketball player.
That's the first thing that I told you. I thought he was just, and this is based off pictures and a lot of watching him play basketball this season. I thought he was a super skinny kid. This is a guy that definitely has the frame. Just look at the shoulders that he's going to be able to carry whatever he wants to get to.
Yeah, that is one of those things that I think, as a broad-shouldered person that has to worry about those in jackets, I'm always very aware of it. And it was the first thing I noticed, oh, wow, okay, he's wide. And so, again, he's going to need time. We all know these things. But some of the stuff you can see, just watch how naturally he moves, his leg bend, he's got those little skinny ankles. I know you would think, little and skinny, that's bad on offensive linemen. take all the skinny ankles you can with an offensive lineman like that. Like, look at him get down at 6'6" underneath that little kid who's probably 5'10", 5'11", and he's down there kind of helmet to helmet with the kid. Like, that's not normal. Most people can't do that, especially at that size. So I came away super impressed. There's definitely substance to all the excitement.
What does he weigh right now, and what do you think he could get at by the time he gets to be a senior in high school, let alone when he got into a college football strength and conditioning program?
I would guess right now, and again, like, people are they'll hear this number. I bet he's 255 or 260.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and again, he's so big. Like, it's hard to understand. That kid he's blocking right there is almost 6 feet tall. Like, I mean, that's what you're talking about. Like, these are 56 right here. That's a big, good-looking kid. It's probably about 6'2" and looks like a little kid next to Cooper. So he's just a really massive human being, and it kind of warps your field when you look at him and are like, oh, he can't be that big. No, he's huge. But as far as, like, if you told me he arrived at a college campus, at 285, I don't think that's crazy. Now, it's a little different than someone like Michael Fasusi, who is a little shorter, a little stockier. So 280 is not going to look quite as big on him as it does Mike. But at the same time, like, if you give it time, he's going to be 325 pounds and probably have a flat belly doing it.
Cooper Hackett, certainly already has a list of suitors that you would imagine for somebody that is, currently ranked in the previously or just released last week, the On 300 in the top 15, if I remember correctly. He's going to have any offer in the country. Obviously, Oklahoma was one of the schools that got in on him early. We've talked about kind of his fandom, I guess we could say, for Oklahoma. You would think that Bill Beatenbow and company are in a good spot. It's a good time to be watching the recruiting report because we've had a snafu with the video interview. So we can just put some of this stuff out there now. Like, we don't have to sit around on it. And talking to him, and I'm, again, having to go on memory because we can't just run through it. But he, I kind of asked him, how do you take being a fan out of the equation? And I think his first thought was like, what do you mean? Like, why would I do that? That's probably good news for you. And I think that's exact. Like, OU fans, that should be music to your ears. And I kind of asked him, who are some schools that stand out? And he talked about Oklahoma. He talked about Oregon. He talked about Texas A&M. And there was a fourth school, and I'm just going to blank on who that was. There was another, though, that he mentioned really liking them. And so I think, but again, like, one of my telltale things when I talk to a player, if they start talking about a school and I didn't ask them about that school, that's a good sign. So I was asking him about, how do you, like, what is a school going to have for you to go there? And he goes, well, they all talk about NFL track record and Coach Beatenbow, his track record, and you're like, okay. Like, so there were some, like, green flags, I think you'd say. So like, so I think it was, people won't ever get to see this interview, but it went as well as it possibly could from an OU perspective. That's good. That's good news for Oklahoma. Certainly somewhat early, still in the process. I know that he's still taken aback a little bit by the 5-star ranking that came out. It's going to be kind of fun to see him just evolve over the next couple years, certainly because he's going to carry that kind of that recognition around the state of Oklahoma and any type of camp setting that he goes to. He's now the guy, and we've been on the flip side of that a lot with guys that were trying to build their name and then having to go up against some of the highly ranked guys. It's going to be interesting too. Just from a development standpoint, how far do you think he has to go over the next 2 years? I guess what I'm trying to say is if he's going to be one of those 5-star guys in the 2027 class, could he come in and be an instant starter type, or is he going to need some time as maybe like a Logan Howland? I know that we kind of use that comparison to really kind of get a better idea of what he is as an offensive tackle. It would surprise me if he was ready. Like, just and it's kind of a multi-faceted issue because not only it's a layered question. Yeah, for sure. He's probably going to be a little light coming in. We know, like, because when I watched him today, you're like, okay, he's got to get a lot stronger. Like, that's going to have to develop. At the same time, like, and I don't mean this as any offense to the teams on his schedule. Sure. It's not like playing at, DeSoto or Cedar Hill and seeing some of the schools they see. It's not even the same as Jinx or Union. So, like, he is not likely to face many guys that look anything like what he's going to see at the college level. So there's going to be a growth. Like,
I'm going to bet that first fall camp, wherever he goes, it's just going to be nightmarish. Like,
sure.
It's going to oh God, it's like this. So there's going to be a lot of growing for him. But the thing I will say that I don't know that, you can't really see it in some of the videos that we got. He is a guy that is super engaged with the coaching staff. He asked a lot of questions. He's instructing some of the younger guys. So he is a guy that really is trying to get better. Not just like, oh, I'm super talented and I'll be fine. Like, you can tell he cares about doing this right and kind of making sure things are done in the right way.
Last question for me from the Fort Gibson experience. Do they have a statue of Teddy Lehman yet outside the stadium?
I was kind of surprised that there wasn't something.
Not even a name on a water tower?
The only thing I saw that even references his time there, and I tweeted it out, was their little 1999 state runner-up thing. And it's just a little, probably not any bigger than this desk, and it's just hanging up on the side of the
For
stadium.
Gibson, we got to get it. We got to get in business.
We got to fix this.
Yeah, I think that we can. And Teddy's probably doesn't want that.
Maybe Scoop could start a fundraiser for the Fort Gibson booster club.
We start a GoFundMe.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, maybe
we'll funnel off a little bit of the money off the top to go to the NBA Finals, but we will start a GoFundMe.
We'll also do that.
Yeah. And it all kind of goes back to the same spot, if you will. All right, let's go stay on the offensive line. We'll just go, I guess technically it would be up the road to Bixby High School, certainly one of the best programs in the state. We'll start with Kaden Penny, and he's a guy that kind of popped on the radar at about this time a year ago. Went on, started for Bixby, played both sides of the ball, if I remember correctly. Played a lot of defensive line when I was going back through some of the 6A state championship film. But certainly, when you're talking about Cooper Hackett, you're also going to be talking about Kaden Penny.
It's crazy that we're living in a world where Kaden Penny is the number 2 offensive lineman in the state of
Sure.
Oklahoma. Because he is in literally probably 99 years out of 100, he's the number 1 guy in the state, and it's not even close. Caden's really good. He plays a lot of tackle for Bixby. Again, you watch him here, same stuff. Natural bend, how easy he is. He's explosive out of his stance. The thing that I like about Kaden is even, he's at Bixby. He's refined. He's learned, Bixby's got an incredible coaching staff. We all know. There's still so much room for growth. He can still get so much better. Because when I was watching some of his stuff, you're like, man, once he gets a little stronger and can muscle guys a little bit more, that's going to change the game for him. He's going to change a lot over the next few years because right now, because of his length and his athleticism, he can kind of play the game that way. But once he goes inside, and you're going to have to, just really muck it up and get kind of nasty on the inside wherever he may go, I think it's going to change his game a little bit. But once you can blend, a couple off seasons of strength training with what he has physically, again, he's an NFL level talent if it all comes together for him.
Guard, center, guard. I mean, is that when you're talking about interior? Do you think he could project as a center?
I would not hate that idea at all. Because I think he is a really sharp kid. Like I said, coming from a place like Bixby, he knows. He already knows about film study and those kind of things that a lot of guys that become centers in college have to learn that because they didn't. But Bixby, it's just a different game.
We'll hear from him here in a second, but just in terms of the overall recruitment, obviously Oklahoma, Bill Biddebo, he's come down to Dorban, a trip that you had talked to him about that it sounds like Mom liked, which is never a bad thing.
Yeah, he gave me a quote after that. I want to say that was a March 10th or something. It was I believe it was Future Freaks, and he was talking about his mom basically came to him on the side and was like, I never thought I'd say this, but I really love this visit.
Sure.
I don't think that was what she had seen for him. But I think Oklahoma did a really good job impressing her, and he talked about it. Again, we'll have this interview up, but where he kind of talked about them just making her feel like she was a priority and that it wasn't just about football. He's going to be educated. He's going to, they're going to take care of him on a human level. And I think that, obviously, like most parents, that would mean a lot to them. And I think that connected with her. And, I think Kaden has been surprised with his interest in Oklahoma.
Here is Kaden Penny. Just kind of give it a little bit of an update when he talked to Josh about his recruitment.
A lot of great players have come through here, that sort of thing. How much does it help you to kind of have some of those guys, and I know some of them pretty well, that have gone through some of this. How much does it help to have those guys that you can go to, like I'm dealing with this or this is going on, and kind of having them to give you some advice from, real time?
It helped a lot. This past year I had Broderick Schul, and he kind of went through the same things. So just asking him for advice really helped.
And that's unique because obviously he's dealing with a lot of the same guys, offensive line coaches, that kind of thing. How much does that weigh in? Like when guys, like I said, he can talk to you like, I thought this coach was real. I thought this guy kind of told me, one thing and maybe did something else. Does that shape kind of how when you meet these guys the first time, you're like, okay, I've kind of already got it in my head about this guy?
No, I like to meet him myself first and then just kind of play it from there.
Mr. Penny is a man of very few words, but you can tell that, and this is kind of like the innocence that comes out in some of these guys when you go out and talk to them about recruiting. It's all very new to them, even being in front of a camera.
Yeah. Oh, and to his credit, Kaden probably just super unimpressed by me. Like, like I was running
Don't sell yourself short.
I was running about 10 minutes late for the interview we'd set up, so he was kind of being patient with me, and then that was at like 7:40 in the morning, so like I'm sure a little worn out, but yeah, definitely. And it's so funny because so many of these kids like will text in great length,
sure,
and then I get them in person and they're quiet, and you're like, it's easier to do this, man, but I think maybe that's just old guy take.
Nobody wants to say anything and be taken the wrong way by all these crazies out there in the comment sections on YouTube.
Like guys like Eddie Radosevich.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's very fair. Let's stay at Bixby. Obviously, one of the titans of OK Preps, Trey McLaughlin, Cord Nolan, both really good. And I know that we've talked about Cord, I think it was during the state championship kind of week going into that. Nolan committed to Texas Tech. McLaughlin committed to Oklahoma State. Another name, another Presley coming through the Bixby program, though. Obviously, the younger brother of Braeden and Braeden. Braeden, I think, signed with the Los Angeles Rams, which I could see him working out for Sean McVay in that offense. But this is more about Braeden. I was super impressed with him when we saw him in the 6A state championship game, made noise for Bixby all season. And you were able to talk to him and kind of get a better idea about where he might play, because he plays on both sides of the ball right now for Bixby.
Yeah, and that was something that I think was a clear focus watching that Bixby practice. Like, they're going to get him the ball. They're going to do some stuff.
Yeah.
A Bixby ball in a Presley's hand, that just kind of works. Like, let's not reinvent the wheel here. So I think you're going to see a lot of that. At the same time, one of the things that I liked talking to him was Braeden, again, kind of the opposite of Kaden, where we're talking about a guy that hasn't been around it that much, hasn't had to do all this stuff. Braden's grown up around this. He's watched his brothers do interviews. He's watched all this stuff. And I think there was
a sister that ran track at Ole Miss as well.
Absolutely. Who they'll tell you was the best athlete in the family. Yeah. So, like, it's a whole thing. But with Braeden, he kind of is – he's just very savvy in the way he answers things. He's not going to tell you anything he doesn't want to tell you, that kind of stuff. But at the end of the interview, I kind of asked him, I said, where does Oklahoma kind of see you fitting in? Like, where are you going to play? And he was kind of like – and he kind of got this smile like – they're not maybe giving me the exact answer I want right now, but he has a position he wants to play, and I'm going to tease it up a little bit for the for the interview. But definitely is a guy that I think is over the spring. It seems like he's become a bigger priority for Oklahoma.
Interesting. I should say, a lot bigger than the other two Presley brothers that played at Oklahoma State. Obviously, Braedlin's still in college at Tulsa, but 6'2", is that probably about where he would be?
He's probably
maybe a little bit shorter.
Yeah, I would say like 6 foot and some change. Like, I mean, he's plenty big, considerably bigger than his brothers. And just you can see it, like, well put together guy, not a guy where you're like, well, he's going to get to college and it's going to look rough for the first year or two. Like, he's part of the Bixby strength and conditioning program, as well as growing up around, all these guys. Our guy, Andrew West, with great positioning on that shot right there. I think I'm pretty sure Lauren Montgomery came over and kind of gave him a heads up on the positioning of that throw as well. So just again, I like Braeden a lot. I like the maturity. He is one of those guys. OU's going to have to battle for him, but you talk about a locker room guy that's going to buy into what Brent Venables believes in and all that. Like, he's the kind of guy you want in your locker room.
And I should put out the disclaimer before we get to the interview portion of Josh's catch-up. He was wearing an Oklahoma State jersey We talked a little bit about this on the Unofficial 40 this week. He does seem like somebody that, do I think he's going to probably end up at Oklahoma State alongside the rest of his family? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that I would probably lean that way. Yeah. He does seem like he's open to the idea, though, of going through the recruiting process. And if you're somebody like a Brent Venables, or if you're Kansas State or Arkansas or whoever, you at least have something of a shot.
Yeah, and I think all the coaches have been very deliberate in talking. You know, like, Braeden, we don't want to waste your time. Sure. Don't waste our time, that kind of thing. And maybe not quite that bluntly, but you know what I mean? Like, they've been very direct. And he's been honest, and I think he's one of those kids that you trust. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, he says it, he's like, okay. And I agree. Like, I think this is going to be a something that's decided by the official visits. Now, obviously, Oklahoma State has some advantages with the relationship he has with Mike Gundy and the entire coaching staff there. So there's reasons to think it's all going to be, you know, it's all kind of foregone. But I do, like, if Oklahoma just hit the official visit out of the park and made him and his family feel good, I don't think that's out of the question. I just don't.
Should be interesting here. We'll let Braeden Presley tell you himself. Here is a little bit of an update. Other schools outside of Oklahoma State for Mr. Presley.
I feel like it is just because of my brothers being there and probably me wearing the shirt now. So I feel like that's always a thing in the back of coaches' minds just because of the, like, how many, like, brothers I've had go there and family members. So, but for me, that's not the case. I can still go anywhere.
You know, with Oklahoma, I mean, what is it about them that's kind of special to you? I mean, what kind of has put them in this place where they've got a chance to land your commitment?
I just liked what they did. They've had a rough season, but I mean, Coach Venables, one of the smartest defensive coaches out there, and I mean, they've got a good corners coach, good safeties coach. Their corners room has produced a lot of NFL talent. Caliber players, and just they're in the biggest conference there is. I mean, you can't really get any better competition than that.
Maybe that ruined your tease, but you can catch Braden's interview as well as everybody else we're talking about here in this section of the Recruiting Report on the SoonerScoop.com editorial page. It certainly seems like the defensive side of the ball, though, might be his option, at least in Norman.
Yeah.
We don't know where else, you know, where other schools are looking at him.
Oh, he's definitely going to play defense. It's just a matter of, like, that was as honest as I've seen him be about, like, something like that where they're kind of, because again, he's a kid that's grown up around it. Like, he knows that technically the right answer is I just want to play anywhere that can help the team.
Yeah.
But it's okay to have a preference. Like, you know, and I don't think that's a thing where it's going to be a deciding factor for him. But even, and honestly, Eddie, I didn't notice it in real time because obviously I'm talking to him and I'm thinking about three other things. But while I'm talking to him, you could see it in that interview. When he talks about corner and he talks about safety, his face, like, it looks different. Like, he's like, yeah, corner, safety. You know, like, it kind of, like, you could see, like, he knows what he wants to do.
He was really good in the state championship game on the offensive side of the ball. Yep. In fact, I think he caught the game-tying touchdown before they went into overtime. I think it ended up being double overtime. Bixby won. We were there. All right, let's move down the road. Broken Arrow, Samaj Stanford, Bryson Brown. The Tigers did hit the transfer portal just like everybody else in the world of college football here during the spring. Let's start with Samaj Stanford because I think that he was a guy, he transfers over from Jinx this year. I thought he was really impressive when we saw the Trojans a year ago.
Yeah, and the thing, and I've talked about this before with you, Eddie, like when you would talk to Jinx, even like when he was going into his freshman year, like, this kid's sharp. He's really smart. I'm at Broken Arrow yesterday, and the first thing they tell me about this ultra-talented safety is, like, he picks it up really fast. Like, this is just a guy that processes information really smart. And then you watch him, and you're like, oh, he's long and athletic and physical and all the things you want a safety to be. He checks all those boxes. Oh, he just happens to be really smart as well. So, again, I think like we talk about all this 27 class, like, oh, Cooper Hackett special, Kaden Penny special. I think maybe the guy getting the least notoriety for how good I think he is might be Samaj Stanford. Like, I think Samaj Stanford is probably a top 100 player. Like, that's kind of where I have him. And I'm running into this where I'm like, am I in favor of like 4 Oklahoma guys in that kind of range? I think I might end up being there.
I don't know how to explain this, but from watching the video with the interview that you did, we'll hear from Samaj here in a second, but he's a lot longer watching him move than he is with you talking to him. And maybe that's just a stupid take, but very, very good looking kid.
Yeah. Well, and like, this is when I really kind of got excited about it. Like, watching some of his, like, look at his feet. Like, watch him change direction, how smooth and easy those transitions look. Like, that's outstanding. Like, and again, with a guy, this is at receiver. This is not his primary position.
Maybe not as big as he was when he was in high school, but it reminds me of another BA kid that is probably going to start for Oklahoma in the secondary this year in Robert Spears-Jennings.
Yep, there is some of that, and not. You're right,
because he was unbelievable at wide receiver.
Yeah, and more of a. You're right. Like, he's not as big as Rob was, but at the same time, like, I think he'll come to college more ready at safety than Rob. Because Rob, I mean, again, we all know, like, Rob came to a camp, OU liked him, said, hey, we could offer you at DB, and everything kind of moved in that direction. But this is a guy, he's just a safety all day. And, I mean, like, again, he sees it, he trusts his eyes, he's super decisive. I just couldn't have been more impressed.
Looking at probably a national interest in terms of the schools that are going to be coming after him?
Yeah. His plans this summer are Georgia, Ohio State, and Miami. So, he's going to have a who's who. And, again, and when you're getting these, these college coaches go to campus and they get these reviews from the coaches, it's not just like, oh, we can see how talented he is. Oh, he's a great kid and he gets it. And, like, his older brother played in college. So, I mean, like, there's all this stuff that just goes in his favor. Schools are going to love him.
Here is Samaj Stanford talking with Josh just about his recruitment as well as his relationship with Brandon Hall at Oklahoma.
A coaching staff that's going to, welcome me, because at the end of the day, all the colleges got all the nice facilities and all that, so I'm not worried about that. It's just more so the relationship between me and the coaches, not just one coach, all the coaches. So that's what I'm going there to see.
Are there a few coaches you feel like you really have built a good early bond with? Some guys you're really comfortable with?
Oh, yes, sir. First, my guy, Coach Mosey at Nebraska. That's my dog, man. Me and him talk dang near every day. Okay. Coach Nojo, that's what we call him. Coach Nojo at LSU, he calls me every day. Okay. Coach B. Hall at OU, he calls me, checks up on me. Coach O'Neal at OSU. Okay. Those are the main guys I got a good, close bond with.
Now, and you and I have talked about this a little bit, but, with B. Hall, he's a guy that, I don't think – like nationally, people don't talk about him, but, he's landed a lot of big-time recruits. He's a guy that players seem to really like. I mean, is there something about him that I guess just makes it easy to connect with?
Oh, yes, sir, most definitely. He reminds me of my guy, Coach Wilk, up there. I know they're best friends, so being able to connect with Coach Wilk and, they have similar personalities, it's easy for me to connect with Coach B. Hall.
Can I start with one thing?
Yeah.
I really hate that I called him B. Hall in that interview. Like that's just not.
You've always been a nickname guy.
I really hate that. I really hate that I pulled that. And in real time, I was like, why did that come out of my mouth? I was not happy about
We can
that.
edit it out later. We can edit it out. Nobody will ever know about it. Certainly, he's on one side. You also have Bryson Brown coming in from Owasso on the other side, up at Broken Arrow, transferring over just like Samaj did in another really good-looking secondary prospect for BA.
Bryson Brown is like what you like the models, like you'll see it like any NFL thing, like they'll have the big mannequin type things. That's what Bryson, like he's the cornerback mannequin. Like he's exactly what you want it to look like. I mean, look at the legs, he looks like a college guy right now with some of his mass and the size he has. Super strong. It's a guy that I feel like every time I talk to Bryson, I have to remind him, I'm like, dude, you're still in high school. Like, you can have a little fun. Like, it's okay. Like, I swear, football's just on his brain all the time. Like, that's
some clips from when he was over at Owasso a year ago.
But yeah, again, couldn't have been more impressed with what you see physically. With Bryson, he's very much a gamer to me. Like, sometimes, I watch him in drills and stuff, and I'm like, okay, it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's just not like what I see, and then I watch him in a game, and you're like, okay, that's more of what I'm talking about. What I think is interesting with Bryson is, like I said, when we're talking about that size, his physicality, he has that ability where if he was to sign at a college and corner doesn't play right, he can move to safety. Like, he has that kind of frame where he's going to be okay to do that. Now, that's not what he wants to do. But, you can see it sometimes. Like, with stuff like that right there, he gets a little stuck in his transition. Like, he's just a little slower in flipping his hips. Now, here you got him going lined up against Mason James, which is obviously a real challenge. But, again, I don't want that to sound at all like I'm down on Bryson Brown. He's a 4-star guy. He's got a lot of ability. I just wonder a little bit if maybe safety is going to be his best future.
Much like Samaj, it sounds like he's going to be very active over the course of the summer. I told you Notre Dame, Ohio State, Texas, Alabama, Baylor, TCU. So that's a full swing, if you will. Where do you think Oklahoma is right now with Bryson Brown?
I think Jay Valai's done a nice job here. Like I think they have a good relationship. They seem like very matched personality types, like kind of like very sincere, like very kind of straightforward. We're not going to mess around with a lot of fluff. Like we're going to talk about playing corner and what it would be like if you're at Oklahoma. Like I don't feel like there's a lot of the silliness that's sometimes happens in recruiting. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Bryson's not going to rush anything. He's going to take all these chances. You mentioned all those schools. That may be the first week of summer for Bryson. He's going to see a lot. Like I guarantee that's not the whole list.
And he knows what he's looking for. Here is Bryson Brown coming up on his expectations for visits over the summer.
Right now, I have Notre Dame and I have Ohio State, probably Texas as well, probably Alabama, Baylor, probably TCU, and that should be it for right now. But I know more later in the summer.
You go on all these trips. I mean, what are some things, because obviously you can't see everything on one trip, but what are a few things you're really trying to hit when you go to a campus and kind of learn about that school?
First is trust. Like, I want to go to a school where I know I can be trusted and I can trust them. One thing I don't chase logos. I don't chase logos. People think like, I get these big time offers and I'm trying to go to a big time school. I don't care. I want to go to a school where I know I'm going to get developed and be ready for college, and I want to leaving from college to go to the league. I want to go to a school that's actually going to develop me. I'm not logo chasing for nothing. Like, we see the schools that really ain't got the big time logos but made it to the playoffs and did good. So you know what I mean? So it's gonna be great. But overall, like I said, I don't chase logos, and I want to go to the school that I can honestly trust. Like I always pray and keep my head up to God bless me to go to the right school and choose the right school. But like I said, it's just first and foremost is trust, and that's really it.
Certainly sounds like somebody that has at least an idea of good head on his shoulders, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and knows what he wants out of each visit moving forward. Samaj Stanford, Bryson Brown, both in that 2027 class. That's going to become a theme here. Let's go to Stillwater. David Thomas, another wide receiver that Oklahoma certainly has had some interest in. You checked him out on Monday as well.
Yeah, one of the earliest offers. The only guys I can really compare it to are Andrew Rame and Bray Walker, that got offers that early on in their recruitment. These, I was going to say, those were Rejoice Christian guys. But David Thomas is just an outstanding playmaker. Like, you watch him on tape, and we talked about it a little bit, like you mentioned, Eddie, on the podcast. He is a guy that his first catch in high school is like a touchdown against Union.
Yeah.
As a freshman in high school, and you're like, okay, that's not normal stuff. That's when you start to separate yourself and make yourself a little bit different. The thing I like about David is, even as a young guy, he's really mature. Like, we had a chance to sit and talk yesterday. He's sitting out the spring because of just an injury he got late in the track year. But this is a guy that Eddie had a chance to win 6A in the 200 meters in track, as a freshman. And so,
it's crazy.
Yeah. So, again, this is just a high-end athlete, really good receiver. The challenge is going to be, for those that don't know, his father is a staffer there with Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State. So, at the same time, in talking to him, kind of like what we're talking about with Braeden Presley, I do get the feeling like, if that's not the best thing for me, that's not what I'm going to do. And I think his dad, talking to some people, I even gotten the impression that his dad is telling him to get out on visits. Like, go see these places, see what you think, get a feel for them. Yeah, and, I asked him, I was like, is your dad going on these trips? And he was like, no, when it comes to officials, he'll go with me, but the unofficials, he kind of hangs back and doesn't want to feel like he's, polluting anything.
Early when we're talking about David Thomas, too. 2028.
Yeah.
He's just going into his sophomore season.
Yeah, long way to go.
It's incredible. It sounds like Stillwater just overall has they've had a really good program up there, won a couple state championships, but it seems like they're starting to really kind of build a tenure, if you will, in 6A2.
Yeah, and I asked, Chad Kaywood is the head coach up there, and I was talking to him about that. And I said, I've been around Stillwater for years, and I used to come up here, and they'd have a guy or two here or there, that would go to Oklahoma State or go to Tulsa or whatever. And now, Eddie, I saw probably 5 guys are going to play Division I football yesterday.
That's incredible.
And he was like, the strength and conditioning program, we got that together. It became a lot better under his predecessor, Tucker Barnard. And I think they've just carried that over. And now, you're looking at, they've got, Deacon Jones is a really talented 2027 receiver. Charlie Johnson, who some people will remember, played at Oklahoma State, played in the NFL. His kids are coming through the program. So they're going to be well situated for a couple years here.
And I think they're going to have a pretty high draft pick in the Major League Baseball draft coming up in June as well, with Ethan Holiday coming in. I think he probably might end up going number 1, which is just insane that him and Jackson both. So, all right, let's move on. You saw a little bit of them. Rejoice Christian stopped by a Class A program as well. Let's start with the quarterback, though. Camion Compton Nero. Is it Camion? Am I saying that correctly?
That is my understanding. And I asked him specifically, and it's basically, for those looking at it at home, it's spelled like Jamie, K-M-I-E, and then on. So just think of with a K, Camie on.
Well, regardless, another 2028 kid that I think by the end of his high school career, we're all going to know his names because very, very impressive.
Yeah, he is a guy. You can see him here. So in my eyes, he's a corner. I think that's where he's going to end up. And he is, as a guy going into his sophomore year of high school, he's every bit of 6 foot, 6'1", runs really well, plays basketball for Rejoice. For their, I think they qualified for state this year, so they're a really good program. Won the state title in football, and he's going to play some quarterback for him this year. You can see it on the tape. I was impressed. I was like, he can throw it around a little bit. He's going to be effective in that way. But that first clip where you're watching him just run in space, you're like, he might run for 1,500 yards.
I think he looks just as good as maybe a senior in high school that we go out and see at some of these camp settings, especially if you're thinking about playing him at cornerback.
Yeah, that one right there, again, you just watch, and he's so under control. Now, I was kind of hopeful that I'd get back out to see him this morning while I was in Tulsa. That didn't work out. But I want to see him work at corner, but just watching his footwork, his size, his length, if he's not a top 5 guy in 2028, then Eddie, we may have another 2027 and 2028 may be the same story where we just have a bunch of freaks.
It's crazy. I don't know what's in the water right now in the state of Oklahoma. 2026 teammate up at Rejoice Christian. To remind you folks, this is the smallest classification of 11-man football in the state of Oklahoma. We pray for the teams that they're playing this year. Xavier Okwufuluze?
Yeah, you went
okay.
With it. Go. I'm proud of you,
that's scary. That was a scary one. But certainly 6'5", 195 is what we have him on the On3 database, and looks every bit of the part.
Yeah, he really does. And this is a guy that, to my understanding, hasn't played a lot of ball. I think this is, a few years in. He's still learning the game, all that kind of stuff. But again, look at those arms. Look at the length. As he is a guy that could play at 215 in college with no problem. He's a big framed kid. He's got some ability to separate. He shows that on tape. I saw it yesterday. Had a chance for a highlight reel grab and just missed it by a little bit on one of these clips. So he is he's a guy that you struggle with a little bit with ranking him right now because you're like, well, I don't know exactly how he plays out, exactly where he's going to be. But if all the things fall in place, you're like, this could be one of those guys that we look back and say he should have been a top 5 guy in 26.
A little bit of a diamond in the rough, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, how the hell did he end up wherever? And he's an all-conference type of kid. The tour continues on Thursday. Going to be around the metro area here a little bit. Just as a preview, Choctaw Titus Hawk, Oklahoma tight end offer.
Yeah, going to get to see him. And I've seen Titus before. This will be my second straight spring going over to watch Choctaw. Kind of want to see, how his body's changed. He's very, last time I saw him, he's very lean. I don't think he's going to be 230 or anything when I roll up there, but I just want to see how he's kind of developing, how his body changes, because he's a guy that has to fight because he plays baseball. He's not a guy that can just be in off season.
A very talented baseball player.
Very good baseball player. So, he's got to kind of balance all of these things that he does, and clearly does very well. So, I just kind of want to see how that's going for him, because he's clearly a highly skilled receiver. He's got all the talent in the world. And Choctaw, they've got several guys. They're kind of, like what we were talking about with Stillwater. All of a sudden now it's just it's coming through. Like Choctaw every year is going to have a couple guys I got to see.
Finally got over the hump last year, right?
Yeah,
got
absolutely.
A bowl as well.
Pulled off a big win.
I think it was during their run through the state tournament or to the state tournament this year. He hit a baseball in like one of the regionals.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an incredible video. Like the sound of it. It's like it kind of looks like the Condon kid or Caglione from Florida that just absolutely mash baseballs at 6'7", whatever.
The pictures of him that came out this week, him walking around.
Oh, it's insane.
He's a monster. It looks like a football player.
He's a monster. Edmond Team Camp, things like that. Santa Fe always has a really good program around there, and it sounds like even more so this year.
Yeah, Santa Fe is like one of those schools where you kind of come around, and then like all of a sudden there's a junior that like you've seen before. And then he just you didn't know he was going to be there. Like Josh Iasosa a couple years ago was that kind of guy.
Yeah, sure.
So like I'm expecting there's going to be some guy that they're real excited about that maybe I haven't had a chance to watch before. So definitely want to see them. Stillwater will be there, so I'll get another look at some of these guys we're talking about. And then Lawton Mack will be there. Brett and his guys are always doing a good job. The guy, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago, that I'm really anxious to see is Ozias Adams from Moore. Haven't had a chance to watch him in person before. Love him on tape. Just want to see how big he is. If he's 5'9", I'm in. Like I just love what I see on tape. And explosive guy. Could probably play some nickel if you wanted to look at him on the defensive side of the ball. But what I see on tape, I see a guy who can really run. He's good in the open field as a running back. I wouldn't really want to take the ball out of his hands.
I noticed you haven't gotten by Putnam City North yet.
Yeah, that's on the long list. Like
okay.
It's going to happen.
As long as they're on the list. Made the playoffs last year. Headed in the right direction over there. All right, that's going to do it for today's recruiting report. We will be back here at the end of the week to kind of wrap everything up, and you'll be in studio quite a bit here over the next couple of weeks with Venables football camp starting on Sunday this week.
Is there any plan that George and I can be in the same studio at the same time?
I don't know. He keeps dodging you. It makes me wonder.
Like, where is he? Is it Cancun next week? Like, where's he going?
I wouldn't be surprised. And it'll be work,
slacking,
like he said. All right, for Josh, I'm Eddie. We'll see you back here on the SoonerScoop.com YouTube channel.